I should have known the night the model scout asked me to measure a banana that I wasn't being discovered. I was being hunted. My name is Niagara Bridges. I'm a 30-year-old paralegal from Richmond, Virginia. I bill my hours at a downtown firm near Canal Walk. I draft motions.
Welcome to TheTrudgery, a zone for true horror stories, disturbing encounters, and twisted tales that were never meant to be heard. Until now.
The following cases are based on a true story. I should have known the night the model scout asked me to measure a banana that I wasn't being discovered. I was being hunted. My name is Niagara Bridges. I'm a 30-year-old paralegal from Richmond, Virginia. I bill my hours at a downtown firm near Canal Walk. I draft motions, organize discovery binders, and pretend I don't check Instagram every 8 minutes. Everyone says I should have been a model. At least that's what they comment. Face card never declines. Why are you wasting that bone structure in an office? Can I marry you? I'd laugh and reply, no thanks. I'm saving myself for Hollywood. It became my catchphrase. I said it at brunch in Carytown, at happy hour near Shockoe Bottom, under filtered selfies taken on the Browns Island pedestrian bridge with the James River glowing behind me. Attention was oxygen, and I breathed deep. There's this older guy who lives 2 streets over from me in Church Hill. Retired Army, Vietnam era, I think. His name is Mr. Halpern. Everyone calls him Sarge. He keeps his lawn cut tight enough to measure with a ruler. American flag out front. Motion lights that snap on if a squirrel blinks wrong. He'd sit on his porch at dusk, watching the neighborhood like he was still on patrol. The first time he spoke to me, I was walking back from Proper Pie, holding my phone up for a story. You know, he said, voice gravelly. Some things shouldn't be broadcast, I laughed. It's just Instagram. He stared at me like that didn't mean anything. After that, I started teasing him online. Nothing cruel, just neighborhood humor. I'd post, POV, your HOA president is actually a retired CIA agent, and tag my location. Or I'd film his immaculate lawn and whisper, if the apocalypse hits, I'm hiding here. My followers loved it. He never said anything to me directly about the posts, but sometimes when I walked past, I'd feel him watching. That's when the DM started. The account was called at Hollywood East Talent. 0 posts, 2,000 followers, following only me. Niagara Bridges? The first message read, we've been watching your content. You have the look. I almost screamed. I screenshotted it immediately. Stop, I replied. Is this real? They said they were scouting faces in the Southeast. Said they had connections in Atlanta and LA. Said they could set up a Zoom audition. They asked for measurements, height, waist, hips. Then came the line.
Have you ever seen a banana this big?
A photo followed. A banana held in someone's hand for scale. It was normal size, but the camera angle made it look obscene. I should have blocked them. Instead, I laughed. I actually sent a voice note. Sir, is this your professional pitch? They replied,
it's about proportions. Camera exaggerates.
Something about that phrasing felt off, too stiff, like someone trying to sound younger. I clicked their profile again. No blue check, no website link. The email they sent for contract review was a generic Gmail. I'm a paralegal. I know better. But attention makes you sloppy. I told myself I was just playing along, gathering content. Maybe I'd turn it into a storytime video. The time a fake model scout tried me. They started asking where I lived. Not directly, just,
do you shoot near the river often? Is that skyline Richmond? You close to downtown?
I kept it vague, or thought I did. One night, I posted a mirror selfie in my bedroom. You could see the reflection of my street sign faintly in the window behind me. I didn't notice until later. That same night, around 11:40 p.m., my phone buzzed. Unknown number.
You left your blinds open.
I gagged. My house is a narrow brick row home. 2 floors. Bedroom upstairs facing the street. I had, in fact, left the blinds cracked for the breeze. I didn't move. I stared at the message. Another text.
Blue looks good on you.
I was wearing blue shorts. My heart thudded so hard I could hear it in my ears. I turned off the lamp slowly, dropped to the floor, and crawled to the window. I peeked through the slats. Across the street, beneath the dim yellow of a street lamp, stood a figure, still, hands behind his back, watching. The motion light from Mr. Halpern's house flicked on. The figure didn't move. My phone buzzed again.
You get one good scream. Better make it count.
I don't know why, but that's what made it real. Not the watching, not the text, the instruction, like he'd practiced saying it. I dialed 911 from the floor, whispered my address. The dispatcher told me to stay hidden. When I looked back out, the figure was gone. Police cruisers rolled through Church Hill 10 minutes later. Lights washed over brick facades and iron fences. They canvassed the street. No one found anything, except footprints in the damp patch of grass near my window. Boot prints. The next morning, I went to work anyway. Drafted a motion to compel like nothing had happened. But during lunch, I did something smarter. I ran the Gmail address from the Talent Scout through a basic search database we use at the firm. It was tied to a secondary phone number. That number was registered to Henry Halpern. 2 streets over, retired Army. I felt physically sick. I scrolled back through the DMs. The phrasing, the stiffness, the way he'd comment sometimes.
Young ladies shouldn't advertise.
He'd been following me the whole time, from his porch, from a fake account. I went to the police station on East Gray Street with printouts, screenshots, the number match. They took it seriously. Turns out, Mr. Halpern had filed multiple noise complaints about neighbors who rejected him socially. A restraining order from years ago. Nothing violent, just escalating behavior. When officers questioned him, he denied everything. Said he didn't understand social media. Said he didn't own a Gmail. But they found the account logged in on an old desktop in his den. And in his garage, a camera with a telephoto lens pointed toward the street, toward my house. Here's the part that still unsettles me. The night he was arrested, I checked the fake account one last time. It was still active for about 3 minutes after officers led him out in handcuffs. A new message came through.
Attention is a currency. You spent it carelessly.
Then the account disappeared. The police said he could have scheduled messages, or maybe an accomplice, or maybe the app lagged. There's always a logical explanation, but I never found the device that sent the "you left your blinds open" text. It wasn't a Gmail number. It was a prepaid burner, purchased at a convenience store on Broad Street. Cash. They charged him with stalking and unlawful surveillance. He took a plea deal, probation, mandatory counseling, no contact order. He still lives in the neighborhood. I don't post my house anymore. I don't tag locations in real time. My follower count dipped when I stopped feeding them everything. It felt like suffocating at first. But there's a story my grandmother used to tell me about a girl who loved applause so much, she climbed higher and higher onto a stage built of borrowed wood. Each cheer made her add another plank. She never checked the nails. One day, the crowd got quiet. The stage collapsed. She realized too late that no one had been holding it up but her. I used to think attention was harmless, just pixels, just jokes. I thought teasing a lonely old man on his porch was content. Now, every time I walk past Mr. Halpern's house, I feel the weight of unseen eyes. even when the curtains are drawn, even when the porch is empty. Sometimes, late at night, my motion light flicks on for no reason. The police say it's probably cats. I tell myself the same thing, but I still sleep on the floor when I forget to close the blinds. And every once in a while, when a new follower with 0 posts and too many mutuals requests to follow me, I hear his voice in my head. Measured, patient, like he's still on patrol. If someone online tells you you're about to be discovered, make sure you're not just being selected. If my car hadn't broken down on that empty stretch of Mississippi Highway in 1993, my sons might have grown up without a father. My name is LEEVON RAMSEY. Back then I was a 32-year-old forklift operator on the south side of Chicago, married to the same woman since I was 22. 2 boys, Marcus and Deshaun, both obsessed with Super Nintendo. Most nights after second shift, I would drop my lunch pail by the door and let them beat me at Street Fighter. That summer, my little brother was getting married in Jackson, Mississippi. I decided to drive down alone so my wife could keep the boys home from the long trip. I had my blue 89 Caprice Classic, clean, waxed, rims shining. Before I pulled off 95th Street, Marcus slapped the trunk and said, "Daddy, don't let nobody mess with your car." I laughed. My ride is too legit to quit. That's the last time I remember feeling completely in control. About 40 miles north of Jackson, right as the sun started dropping behind the trees, my engine coughed. The dashboard flickered like a dying arcade screen. I eased onto the shoulder. Steam rolled from under the hood. No cell phone. It was 1993. Cars were sparse. Pine trees on both sides. A narrow 2-lane highway that felt forgotten. I waited maybe 20 minutes before an old Ford pickup slowed down. White guy, late 50s, lean, with a veteran's cap on. "Trouble," he called out. "Looks that way?" He introduced himself as Raymond. Said there was a bed and breakfast about 2 miles up a side road. "Phone line's spotty out here. You can call a tow in the morning." I didn't love the idea of leaving my car, but night was falling fast. He offered to tow it with the chain to the property. I watched him hook it up himself. Efficient, quiet. The road to the place wasn't marked, just a gravel turnoff between 2 mailboxes. The house sat back from the road. 2 stories, peeling white paint, porch sagging slightly in the middle. A wooden sign out front read, "Magnolia House B&B." The B&B was painted in fresher letters than the rest. Inside, the air smelled like mothballs, and there's something fried earlier in the day. No other cars in sight. A woman appeared from a back hallway, mid-40s, thin, smile stretched a little too wide. "Evening," she said. "I'm Clara." Raymond stood close behind me, too close. Clara handed me a clipboard. No logo, just lined paper with columns drawn in pen. "Cash only," she said. I hesitated, but I needed a phone. I needed a bed. I ain't really hungry, but I'll take a pop, I told her when she asked about dinner. She stared at me for a second before nodding. Of course. They showed me to a room upstairs. Floor wallpaper, a single lamp. The window wouldn't open more than 2 inches. I tested it casually. No television, no radio, just a rotary phone on a nightstand. I picked it up, no dial tone. I went back downstairs. "Phone's dead," I said. Raymond smiled without showing teeth. "Storm knocked it out earlier. We'll get you squared away tomorrow." There hadn't been a cloud in the sky all day. Clara brought me a can of generic cola. Already opened. I didn't drink it. Instead, I sat on the edge of the bed and he thought about my boys at home, probably arguing over Donkey Kong Country. I told myself I was overthinking. People in rural towns did things different. That didn't make them criminals. Still, Something felt arranged. You know how you can sense when a place isn't meant for guests, just for keeping. Strange places wear borrowed faces, smiles too wide in quiet spaces. If the road goes dark and thin, pray you're not what's welcomed in. Around 11 p.m., I heard footsteps outside my door. Slow, measured. They stopped right in front of it. The knob rattled once. I stood up immediately. My heart started pounding so hard I could feel it in my throat. "Everything all right?" Raymond's voice called softly. "Yeah," I said, "just getting settled." A pause.
You sure you don't want company?
My stomach dropped. "I'm a married man," I replied, keeping my voice steady. I don't lend myself to the type of confusion. Silence. Then the footsteps moved away. I didn't sleep. Around 1 a.m., I heard a car pull into the gravel drive. Headlights swept across my ceiling. Doors opened, muffled voices, then dragging. Not loud, just heavy. I crept to the window and peered through the 2-inch gap. Raymond and another man were hauling something from a trunk. Long, wrapped in what looked like a tarp. They weren't rushing. That calmness scared me more than anything. I stepped back slowly. My room door had no lock, just a simple push-button latch. I pushed the dresser in front of it, quiet as I could. Then I noticed something that made my blood go cold. On the inside of the closet door were scratches, deep ones, at shoulder height and lower. Like someone had clawed. I heard the front door open downstairs. Voices again. Clara laughing softly. A thud. Then footsteps on the stairs. 2 sets this time. They stopped outside my room. The knob turned. It hit the dresser. Silence. Then a whisper. He moved something. I backed toward the window. It wasn't big enough to climb through easily, but I didn't have options. I shoved harder against the frame. The old wood cracked just enough. The men outside began pushing. The dresser slid inch by inch. I forced myself through the gap, tearing my shirt, scraping my back. Dropped from the 2nd floor onto the sloped roof of the porch. It buckled under my weight, but held. I slid off the edge and hit the ground hard, rolled, ran, didn't look back. I ran barefoot through gravel and weeds until I hit the main road. My feet were cut up, my lungs on fire. A semi-truck finally slowed when it saw me waving. The driver let me climb in, drove me to a 24-hour gas station 15 miles up. Police went back with me at dawn. The Magnolia house was empty. No sign, no Clara, no Raymond, no bed and breakfast license on record for that county. My Caprice was still there, hood up, engine sabotaged, radiator hose sliced clean. In the woods behind the house, deputies found disturbed earth. Fresh, but no body. They told me sometimes people run scams on stranded motorists. Robbery, extortion. Worse, the property owner listed on county records had died 3 years earlier. No one could tell me who had been staying there. I made it to my brother's wedding 2 days late. I didn't tell my wife the full story until years later. But sometimes, when I'm playing old Super Nintendo games with my grown sons, I think about how close I came to not coming home. And I remember those footsteps outside that flimsy door. If you ever see a hand-painted vacancy sign glowing where no business should be, keep driving, because some places don't rent rooms. They collect people. If you think the dead are the scariest thing in the cemetery, you've never been stripped naked in one. My name's Travis LOCKMAN, 36, groundskeeper at a cemetery on the west side of Baltimore. I cut grass, edge stones, dig graves when I have to. I'm tall, sturdy, and corn-fed, goofy enough to dance behind a mower when Baltimore club music hits the right tempo in my headphones. I love chicken boxes dusted heavy with Old Bay. I love my neighbor Shakisha's crab cakes. I love basketball at Carroll Park after work. And yeah, I love beautiful black women. That's how I got set up. It was late August. Sticky, sky hanging low in purple over the older section of the cemetery. The part where stones lean like tired teeth. I stayed after hours fixing a sprinkler head. Gates locked. Place empty. At least I thought so. I heard heels on pavement. You don't expect heels in the cemetery after dark. She stepped between two mausoleums like she'd been there before. Red dress, calm smile. You Travis? She asked. That should have been my first red flag. Depends who asking, I said. She laughed. Relax. I heard you're the fun one. Baltimore small. Everybody knows somebody. I shrugged and gave her the unofficial tour. Showed her the angel statue kids swear moves at night. Told her which mausoleum floods when it rains. You ever get lonely out here? She asked. I got thousands of neighbors, I said. They just quiet. She stepped closer. Vanilla perfume, something sharper underneath. Flirty energy thickened the air. I leaned into it. That was mistake number 2. I ain't from Dundalk. I'm from Pigtown. That's why I'm hung like a horse, I joked. She raised an eyebrow. Big as a baby's arm. See for yourself. She laughed. Men always talking. It's woollier than a mammoth. With a blowout, I added. Because once I start joking, I commit. She pulled a small bottle from her purse to not taking life too seriously. Now listen, when you work around graves every day, you learn something. Nobody in there thought their last normal day was their last normal day. So I try to laugh, dance, enjoy food, enjoy women. Life's heavy enough, but there's a difference between enjoying life and ignoring danger. I took the bottle. One swallow burned sweet, too sweet. We walked deeper into the older section. The ground was uneven, stones crooked. My head got light faster than it should have. You trust me? She asked. That question still echoes. I remember sitting against the headstone, remember laughing, remember her hands on my chest. Then I was on my back staring at spinning stars. Buttons popping, belt sliding loose. Public property, I mumbled. Shh, she said. Cold air hit skin that shouldn't meet night air. Then darkness. When I woke up, I was freezing. No red dress, no laughter, just silence and the smell of grass. I looked down, completely naked. Clothes gone, boots gone, phone gone, keys gone. That's when I heard voices. Low, close. I crouched behind a leaning headstone. 3 silhouettes stood near the oak tree. One of them held something glowing. My phone.
Got everything?
A man asked. Yeah, she answered. Hot damn. Her voice. You should still be asleep, she added. My stomach folded in on itself. I step out because pride makes you stupid. You think this funny? I asked. They turned. 2 men in hoodies. Her between them. No red dress now. Sweatshirt pulled over it. She held up my phone, video thumbnail. Me, drunk, stripped, rambling. Clear as day in the cemetery I manage. Couple taps, she said softly. Send this to your job, post it. Humiliation hit harder than fear. What you want? I asked.
$5 grand.
One of the men said.
Or we upload.
I don't have that. Call someone, she said. You got friends. That neighbor who makes crab cakes. She knew about Shakisha. That's when I realized this wasn't random. They'd watched me before tonight. The wind changed, hard. No storm forecast, no warning, just a sudden drop in temperature and a rush through the trees. Behind them, in the older section, one of the oldest marble stones shifted. I know those stones. I maintain them. This one moved. Crack. It split down the center and slammed into the dirt. All 3 of them turned. That you? One of the men asked me. I'm naked, I said. What you think? Another gust, stronger. Tools in the shed rattled loud enough to hear from across the grass. The lights along the main path flickered on early. They're on timers, but not that early. The skinny one grabbed her arm. This place weird. Another crack echoed somewhere deeper in the rows. That did it. They ran. They ran. No final threat. No countdown. Just gravel scattering and a car engine ripping outside the lock gates. They left with my phone. Left me naked. I wrapped myself in the tarp from the shed and called the police from the landline. Gave my statement. Turns out similar setups been happening. Men isolated, compromised, extorted. They never caught her. Maybe the wind was coincidence. Old stones shift, timers glitch, ground settles. Maybe. But I've worked that cemetery 12 years. I know its moods. That night felt like a warning. I still dance behind the mower. Still eat my chicken boxes heavy with Old Bay. Still flirt, just not like before. Because here's what I learned staring up at the sky with nothing on but shame. Laugh at life. Enjoy it. Don't carry it like a coffin on your back. But never assume you're untouchable. The moment you think you're in control is usually the moment somebody else is holding the camera. And if a stranger knows your name inside a locked cemetery after dark, don't flirt, run. I woke up at 3:33 a.m. to the sound of a man urinating in my sink. My name is AHMED OUMAR. I'm 24, a radiology resident in Dearborn, Michigan. I was born in Nouakchott, Mauritania, and moved here when I was 9. I read to quiet my mind. I love good food. I never miss a PSG match if Kylian Mbappe is playing, and I'm trying to quit smoking. That part matters, because when you're quitting, you wake up a lot. The sound was steady, liquid hitting porcelain, not the toilet, the sink. At first, I thought it was a dream blending into my apartment's old pipes. Then I heard a zipper. I sat up slowly on the couch. The kitchen light was on. A man stood at my sink, his back to me, shoulders relaxed like he belonged there, pants around his ankles. For a moment, I didn't breathe. Then he spoke.
What a pretty mouth, Ahmed.
My blood froze. I hadn't moved. I hadn't made a sound. He turned around, mid-40s, work boots, dark jacket, calm eyes, the kind of face you'd notice in a grocery store. Who are you? I asked. He smiled slightly.
Don't make me hurt you.
My phone was on the coffee table. Too far. Take whatever you want, I said. Just leave. Instead of answering, he studied me.
You can hide, but you cannot run.
The way he said it felt practiced. How did you get in? He nodded toward the window.
You left it open.
I always lock my windows. But earlier that night, I was smoking, pacing, telling myself it would be my last cigarette. I cracked the window wider so the smell wouldn't linger. Had I locked it? I couldn't remember. Anxiety does that. It makes you question simple things. Did I turn the stove off? Did I lock the door? Did I imagine that shadow? It's like living with a smoke alarm that goes off when there's no fire. After a while, you stop trusting it. He took a slow step forward.
You live alone,
He said.
You read a lot. You don't go out much.
My chest tightened. You've been watching me. He didn't answer directly.
You talk when you smoke.
That's when I understood. This wasn't random. He had been outside my window before. How long? I asked. He tilted his head.
Long enough.
There's a specific kind of fear when you realize someone chose you. My mind raced through small things I'd ignored. The time my bathroom cabinet was slightly open. The feeling of being watched while unlocking my door. The cigarette butts out front that weren't mine.
You work at the hospital,
He said softly.
big machines. dark rooms.
I didn't ask how he knew. He stepped closer. I grabbed a ceramic lamp beside me. Stay back. His smile disappeared.
Don't make me hurt you. That's the opposite of what I want to do.
My hands were shaking. You break into my apartment, I said, and expect me to stay calm?
You left it open,
he repeated. The certainty in his voice made doubt creep in again. Had I? That's the trap. When you struggle with anxiety, you blame yourself first. Maybe you forgot. Maybe you imagined it. Maybe this is your fault. He moved suddenly. I swung the lamp. It shattered against his shoulder. He stumbled, cursing. I ran. I bolted into the hallway barefoot and pounded on my neighbor's door, yelling. Lights flicked on. Doors opened. When I looked back, he was gone. Police arrived within minutes. They searched the apartment. The kitchen window was open 3 inches. No forced entry, boot prints on the counter, urine in the sink. One officer told me quietly, as there had been similar reports, a man entering apartments through slightly open windows, watching residents, sometimes standing in their rooms while they slept. He didn't always steal, he just observed. A week later, they arrested someone a few miles away. When I saw his mugshot on the local news, my stomach dropped. Same eyes, same almost smile. He had a record, breaking and entering, stalking, escalating behavior. They found a notebook in his car, addresses, routines, notes about windows. My building was listed. Next to it, 2 words, pretty mouth. I stopped smoking after that. Not because I found discipline, because I understood something. Most of the time, anxiety lies. It whispers that danger is everywhere. It makes you double-check locked doors and imagine footsteps that aren't there. But sometimes, rarely, there is real danger. And if you've trained yourself to dismiss every alarm as paranoia, you might ignore the one time it's true. I moved 6 months later. New locks, cameras, ground floor, no more. But sometimes I still wake up at 3:33. Sometimes I swear I hear liquid hitting porcelain. And every time I pass the sink in the dark, I remember how calm he looked, standing in my kitchen, like he'd done it before. Like he knew I wouldn't trust my own fear. I used to think the scariest thing in my life was the anxiety in my head. I was wrong, because somewhere out there is a man who once stood in my kitchen, and for weeks before that night, I never knew he was watching. I knew he was outside before he touched the door, because the pie started to sweat. My name is DONDA Freeman. I'm 42, retired Army vet, York, Pennsylvania, born and raised, baby. Around here they call me the Pie Lady. I bake for the farmers markets, church fundraisers, block parties, and sometimes just because somebody needs to taste something honest. I'm kind but firm, measured and ready. I keep my hair laid, my mani and pity fresh, and my spirit tighter than my perimeter used to be overseas. I've seen real war. What scares me now is deceit. That's how the liar pie started. My associate, we'll call her Wounded Dragon, came to my kitchen one humid July afternoon, shaking like a leaf in a storm. She's young, still thinks potential means promise. Her man has been acting strange, guarding his phone, smiling at notifications that weren't hers. I asked her straight up, "Is he on hookup apps?" She nodded. "Trading pictures?" Nod. "Soliciting services? At bars? Communing with hoes on Instagram?" Her eyes welled up. All of it. I wiped my hands on my apron and said what needed saying. He was hitching his wagon to unclean spirits and just lying. She tried to defend him. They always do. He says it's nothing. Any man worth his salt is truthful and straightforward, I said. If he has to hide it, it's already rotten. Y'all hear me? I pulled flour from the bin and started sifting. She watched me like I was performing surgery. You ever hear of liar's pie? I asked. She shook her head. It's simple. You bake it with intention, not witchcraft, not foolishness, just intention and discernment. You serve it warm. If the person eating it is truthful, it settles easy, sweet, comforting. But if they're steeped in deception, I press my thumb into the dough. It turns on them. She blinked. Turns how? Truth has weight. Lies have consequence. I didn't tell her that I'd tested it before. Years ago, 5 years ago to be exact, at a flea market in Penn Park, right here in York. That's where I met him. He was tall, caramel skin, sexy beard, smelled like expensive cologne and unfinished business. Y'all hear me? He bought a peach cobbler and asked questions about crust ratios like he was genuinely interested. We dated for 6 months. He was fine, but he was a hoe, and that dulled his shine. I didn't know it at first. He'd step away to take calls, turn his phone face down, delete text threads. I'm Army. I noticed patterns, inconsistencies, micro expressions. One night, I saw a message flash across his screen while he was in the shower. A name with a heart next to it, then another, then a dating app notification. When I confronted him, he denied it so smoothly, I almost respected it. Almost. I cut him off that same week. He didn't take it well. Started sending long messages, then angry ones, then silent ones. But bitterness has a scent, and I could smell it through the phone. Back to Wounded Dragon. I handed her the finished pie, golden crust, sugared lattice top. When you serve it, I told her, look him in the eye. Ask him if he's been faithful in spirit and action. Watch his breathing. Watch his jaw. She swallowed. And remember this, I added. You are the company you keep, even the hoe that you seek. She left steadier than she arrived. 3 days later, she called me. He'd eaten 2 slices, started sweating, complaining about stomach pain, accusing her of poisoning him. Then in a panic, he confessed to everything. Names, dates, cash, apps, hotels. She didn't poison him. Guilt just has a way of turning the body against itself. That should have been the end of it. But truth has ripples. Tonight I baked another one. Not for Wounded Dragon. For him, the man from the flea market. The one who never forgave me for seeing him clearly. I didn't know he was coming until yesterday. A blank message request on social media. Then a friend request from a burner account with no profile picture. Then a car I didn't recognize driving slow past my house twice. Army instincts don't retire. I checked my cameras, tightened my outdoor lights, made a call to a friend on the force. Off the record, just in case. And I baked. Same recipe, same intention. Because here's the thing about men who live double lives. Eventually, they circle back to the woman who saw through them, not for love, for validation, for revenge, for closure they don't deserve. The pie was cooling on the rack when the first knock came. 3 slow taps. I didn't move. Second knock. Harder.
Donda.
He called through the door. His voice older, rougher.
I just want to talk.
I stayed seated at my kitchen table. The house was dark except for the stove light glowing over that pie. You shouldn't be here, I said calmly.
I drove a long way.
I didn't invite you. Silence. Then the doorknob rattled. My heartbeat slowed instead of sped up. Training does that. Fear becomes focus.
I know you're alone,
He said. That's where you're wrong. Another lie. He always led with lies. I rose slowly, walked to the counter, and cut a slice of pie, plated it, opened the door just enough to slide the plate onto the porch bench between us. I kept the chain locked. He looked thinner, eyes sunken, something frantic behind them.
You bake for me?
He asked. I bake for everybody. He stared at the slice like it might speak.
What is this?
Peach. He laughed nervously.
You always did have a flair for drama.
No, I said evenly. I have a flair for discernment. He hesitated. Then, maybe to prove something, he took a bite. We stood there in the thick Pennsylvania night. Crickets, distant traffic, his chewing loud in the silence. How's it taste? I asked.
Fine.
Another bite, then another. He swallowed hard. Why did you really come here? I asked.
To see you.
That's not the whole truth. His jaw tightened.
You think you're better than me?
He snapped. I think I'm honest. He shifted his weight. Sweat beaded at his temple despite the cool air.
You ruined my life,
He said suddenly.
After you left, everything fell apart.
I felt something cold settle in my spine. Your life was already cracked, I replied. I just refused to live in the fracture. He swayed slightly.
I never cheated.
He insisted. My porch light flickered. He grabbed his stomach. He bent forward, breathing shallow.
What did you put in this?
Nothing that wasn't already in you. His eyes widened, not in supernatural terror, in recognition, because the body keeps score. Adrenaline, cortisol, years of double living, constant lying. It corrodes a man from the inside. Doctors call it stress-induced gastritis, panic response, acute anxiety reaction. I call it consequence. He stumbled back from my porch, nearly tripping over the step.
You're crazy.
He gasped. No, I said softly. I'm prepared. He made it to his car, but had to sit before starting it. I watched until his headlights disappeared. I didn't call the police. He never touched me. But I filed a report the next morning anyway. Paper trails matter. 2 weeks later, I heard through the grapevine he'd been hospitalized for severe ulcers and dehydration. Doctors told him stress was eating him alive. Y'all hear me? Stress, not pie. Here's the truth. Liar's pie doesn't curse anyone. It doesn't conjure demons. It simply confronts the eater with themselves. If you are solid, it nourishes. If you keep holes in your stories, it presses on every crack. That's the way truth works. Wounded Dragon left her man, started therapy, enrolled in classes. She's finding her fire again. And me, I still bake, still keep my standards high, still believe a man with a healthy appetite for spiritual, mental, and emotional substance exists. But I also keep my doors locked because the scariest thing I've ever faced wasn't overseas. It was a smiling man with secrets, standing on my porch, convinced of his own lies. And if you ever find yourself at my table, staring down a warm slice of pie while I ask you a simple question about honesty, just make sure your spirit is clean before you take a bite, because the pie doesn't lie. People do.